Hello and welcome to Making Creativity Pay, the podcast where we talk to people in creative industries about how they promote and market their work. I'm Dan Barnett, and this episode I spoke with comedians Claire McFadden and Maureen Monahan, who together are Sketch Duo Spooky Dookie, with their show Cool New Planet, which is on at the Fringe this August. We talk about where the name comes from, their wide range of comedy experience, between them writing for SNL, The Onion, Comedy Central and others. We also talk about the right balance of written and improv work in a show, working together for over a decade. I started by asking them to give a brief introduction about themselves.
Hi, I'm Maureen Monahan. I'm half of the Sketch Duo Spooky Dookie with Claire. I'm the shorter half, whereas Claire is the taller half. Just to get that out of the way, I know you were going to ask which one is short and which one is tall. I'm based in Los Angeles, where I write for the long-running YouTube show Good Mythical Morning. And I've done a little other TV work as well, and I've done a lot of different comedy things, but working with Claire has been the constant since 2015, 2016, when we became a duo, and we've been writing shows together and putting them up since then.
That was expertly done. I am Claire, the tall one, and I'm based in New York, where I write for SNL, and was in Chicago for 10 years before that, doing a lot of live comedy, which is where Maureen and I got together. And we are excited for Fringe. And also one time after somebody saw us perform early on, they said, did you get together because it's funny how one of you is tall and one of you is short?
Okay, fantastic.
And it's not even an extreme height difference. It's just on stage, I guess it looks pretty extreme. And someone was like, that must be the basis of their act.
It does look pretty extreme on tape. I remember hearing
Which shocks
that
us
as well
every
and being
time.
like, what? Well, we're like basically the same height. Like maybe and then seeing show tape and being like, wow, no, it is like a tree and a gnome. It's like a very stark difference.
It's Shrek and Donkey.
It's Shrek and Donkey.
Okay. So yes, Spooky Dookie. I had a quick Google of that, and that comes up with all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Where did the name come from?
The name was, I won't say it's a regret, but it was a small joke, because Maureen and I met doing a very ill-fated sketch show, and where relationships were fraught between the cast and the director. And for that show, we had done this big, I don't know if it wasn't like a group chat, but the equivalent maybe on Facebook, where we were all pitching names for our show. And it was around Halloween time. And one of us said Spooky Dookie, and as a joke. And then the director said, commented, do you want everyone to think that your show is shit? And so we were like, okay. And then later, when we performed as a duo the first time at a variety show, the host came up and asked what he should introduce us as. And so sort of just like as a joke, we said Spooky Dookie. And then that name now has stuck with us for 10 years.
Yeah, definitely. We have kind of a funny relationship with the name Spooky Dookie because it is such a bad name. It's like such a dumb name, but it's kind of fun. I think it's good to not have like a clever comedy group name. You know, like it's kind of fun. It's like, what? This isn't that serious. We're just Spooky Dookie. Yeah. It doesn't have to be clever. So yeah, even though it was a name born out of kind of panic and a little sarcasm, it has stuck, and it's become we've kind of grown into the name by sort of like just having this very silly name that we use to put up kind of like smart and slick sketch shows behind.
I don't know if you wanted to talk a little bit about the show itself, because I'm looking in the description, he was talking about improv, but obviously there's a story and a structure around it, so it's not completely free form. How much of a kind of mix is there between the various forms?
I would say it's first and foremost a sketch show, so mostly written material. A lot of the written material did come from us improvising dialogue and riffing and just kind of making each other laugh. So some parts of the show are more tightly scripted than others, but then there is also some straight up audience interactive improv in the show that we put in here and there, which is always like one of the most fun parts of the show, getting to interact with the audience. So we wrote the show using improv, but then like a little pure improv remains in the run of the show.
Yeah, I'd say it's like 93% tightly written, and then 7% we built in these moments where we sort of put ourselves on the spot by getting a suggestion from the audience and having to come up with something. Is probably the breakdown.
I mean, obviously doing a show probably 25 times or something like that, it's probably nice to have something that's a bit different each time, just for your own kind of mental well-being as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's always really fun to kind of like use it as a little moment to check in with the show, with the audience, and see sort of their read on the show based on their suggestions. And yeah, it's always just like a fun opportunity to, again, make each other laugh. In one of the improv bits we do, we're wearing like very heavy monk robe hoods. And a lot of the time we're just like shaking with laughter underneath our little hoods because of the thing that the other has said. And yeah, it's a really fun part of the show.
I've spoken to a few performers from the US who are coming over for Fringe. It's interesting kind of compared to kind of UK acts where, you know, it to some extent they kind of see it partly as a trade fair as well as a giant arts festival. I mean, what from your side is, you know, what attracts you to come in to do the month?
I think primarily we are excited about the sort of summer camp feeling of it, and just running around and seeing a ton of stuff and meeting people and having a beer and talking about a puppet show we saw. I think that's probably the main thing. Maureen and I have done a bunch of festivals in America, but they've always been a couple days long. So this will be our first like big thing. So I think we're really motivated by the fun of the actual experience. And then another thing that excites us is sort of having an international debut, because we've done our shows. This will be the seventh, or this is, I think, the seventh show that we've written together. And so, especially in Chicago, we're very aligned on liking to create the show, and then we would kind of do it 4 times and never again. And so this is kind of the first time that we took one of our shows and really thought about like, let's get a real poster and do podcasts and try to get people to see it that aren't friends of friends alone, you know? So it's kind of like our first time launching out to the greater public with our shows, rather than kind of being satisfied by just doing them a couple times and having a laugh and then writing the next one.
Yeah, like Claire said, we've done a lot of festivals in the US, and we just love the festival lifestyle, and we love seeing, you know, doing our show, bringing our show to a festival we love, but we also love being able to see like 3 other shows that same night, and just being able to just absorb a lot of comedy and a lot of art that we wouldn't have seen normally. And yeah, again, like Claire said, in Chicago, we would do these shows and kind of put them up at a theater a few times, maybe like a short run of, you know, of 4 or 5 weeks. And then we would take our favorite things from those shows and kind of fold them into our festival sets. But this time we really, we kind of like did that same process, but in overdrive, where we, I think, worked really hard to make a show that we would have fun with 25 times in a row. And then, slotting in some of our favorite things that we've done before into that, and just kind of making like the ultimate comedy festival experience for ourselves, just so that we can, you know, like have as much fun as possible and bring the best show that we can for our UK debut.
I saw that you've taken 2 Mondays off within the month, which I think is very sensible. Some people think, well, I'm there, I might as well do it every day. And, you know, some of them then live to regret it around about the 19th. You know, was that a definite choice that, you know, we need a bit of a break, we need to kind of, you know, have a chance to do other things as well? And
Yeah.
We asked some people who had done it before, and they were like, absolutely, give yourself 2 days. And I previously in Chicago, I worked at a theater called Second City, and I was performing 6 nights a week, and it was 8 shows a week. And so I feel like I had each Monday off and absolutely needed that Monday off, and would basically just spend the whole day prone on the couch. And so I think we're, even with our 2 days off, are going to be super exhausted, but it's a sprint, Yeah. Actually, you could call it a marathon because it's a month. But I mean, compared to I did that schedule for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like sprinting through a marathon is how we're thinking of it, which we've heard is a good idea.
But also, we're so excited to be in Edinburgh. I mean, it definitely, that's kind of the unsaid thing, is that we're in we're going to be in a beautiful world-class city, also feeling very tired, but we're going to be looking at beautiful buildings in addition to seeing all the great shows. So I think it's definitely an obvious perk to get to go to Edinburgh, and it'll be my first time in Scotland at all. So I'm super excited for that too.
Is it your first time as well, Claire? Have you been to the festival before?
Yeah, I've been a couple times to do improv for short stints, like a week or 2 weeks.
You were saying about kind of taking advice about taking a couple of days off. Is there anything else that people have said to you, you must do this, or definitely don't do that?
Flyer. You got a flyer. You can't not flyer. That's a big one. And we have a lot of experience kind of going up to strangers and telling them things. We've done kind of some in our youth. We did some weird gigs with the comedy theater. Claire mentioned Second City, where we would work the concierge convention. And one time we were dressed up as reindeer. One time we were dressed up as winter fairies or something. But we have kind of killed the
ego.
Killed the ego of involved in going up to strangers, and they probably think you're weird and stupid, and you have to say your little piece to them anyway. So we're excited about that element of it too. But definitely, we know we're gonna be hoofing it, flyering a lot, and enjoying our couple of nights off.
Yeah, I feel like people. This isn't really advice, but I've heard from a lot of people it's so hard. You'll go to the lowest of low place. So we're hoping
that the best month of your life.
Yeah.
It'll be hard and it'll be the best thing ever.
Yeah. So I don't know, I think that we are going in with eyes open, not thinking that it's all going to be every day's going to rock. But we'll see. I'll be interested to see what our version of it being very hard is.
Yeah, and what we will tell people.
Yeah.
Who come to us for advice.
Also, I feel like probably people say it's so hard because they're trying to, if the general thought and sense people have is that it's so fun, then they want to say, oh, just it's also going to be very hard. It's kind of you bring up the thing you think isn't already dominant in the person's head, if that makes sense.
I was speaking to someone yesterday, and they were saying, you can confide in certain people, but when people ask how it's going, don't say it's going bad, because so much is kind of word of mouth. If you tell everyone, it's a slog, whatever, you can be honest with some people, but everyone else, you're having the greatest time of your life while you're there.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. It's a never let them see you sweat scenario.
Yeah.
And then you cry behind closed doors.
You cry behind closed doors, and you clench and scream. But also you remember that hard things can be so fun. Sometimes it makes them even more fun if they are hard.
Certainly in afterwards when you look back on it.
That's true. And sometimes when you look into the future, I'm telling you that it's going to be really fun. It is going to be really fun and hard, which will make it all the more fun.
Have you performed at the Fringe, Dan?
Oh, God, no. No, I'm very much in the background. I'm just a fan and just interested in stuff. But it's kind of interesting, talking to people about these, that you're here a couple of weeks out and kind of every possibility is there between empty rooms and 5-star reviews and, that kind of thing of having you've got to have confidence to do it and, believe in your work and everything else. But then there's also, what if no one comes? What if everyone hates it? And how do you kind of balance being, confident and, imposter syndrome or whatever else might come along and everything else you're worried about?
I think that Maureen and I are very in the same boat about doing things for the experience of them, like that's enough. So that it's kind of like anything good that comes out of it, like future things like, oh, we got a run at this theater or we got some attention or great reviews, that those are like, that's not the why that we're going. So we'll still probably suffer some ego death or like stings if we don't achieve certain things, but that we're genuinely like, we checked in with each other hard, that the motivation for going was not to like make a bunch of money and become famous and get a TV show, because those are just external things that are out of our control. But it is very in our control to put up a good show.
Yeah.
And then I also think it really helps that there's two of us, because the times that we've had really things go wrong, like at festivals, really, really bad tech experiences perhaps, or we're doing a variety show and there's 3 people in the audience and you can hear our footsteps on the stage. Like then we come off stage and we're just like laughing and laughing with each other. So I think that sort of is the sort of worst outcome is very pillowed for me by the fact that we're going to be together and it's going to be funny if it's a disaster.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, we've done so many shows together. Some of them, yeah, like Claire said, where you can like hear the air conditioner running, like there's 3 people in the audience and they're not laughing. We've also done shows where we come off stage and we're like, they were eating out of the palm of our hand. That was amazing. Like that was so fun. We've done festival shows where our tech has been so doomed that like the tech guy comes up to us afterwards apologizing with tears in his eyes, and we've done like incredible festival shows where like with so many tech cues that we can't believe went off so well. But we've experienced like everything on the spectrum of these type of shows, and so we're both like prepared for it, but we also know like, yeah, we've done all of that and we liked doing it still, even though we could hear the air conditioner running in the theater. Like we were prepared for it and we know that we still like doing it, and we always like have the other person to check in with or commiserate with or celebrate with afterwards, or like make eye contact with on stage as like the lights are going up at the wrong time, and just kind of like, okay, we're good. Like this is still fun.
It is agonizing in the moment still, but it's funny almost immediately as soon as we take our bows. Like in the last preview we did before we're coming to the Fringe, the tech was running the whole show off my laptop and my laptop died and he didn't have the charger. So just in the middle of the show, a video was supposed to play, it didn't play. I had to go on the mic and say, hey, it's me backstage in character. Do you want to like move on? What do you want to do? And then he got on the mic and said, your laptop died. And then the whole audience watched me carry my computer charger from the stage through the audience up to the tech booth. We had to wait for the computer to like reboot, all the while Maureen's on stage doing crowd work. So, and that was not fun in the moment. It was agonizing. But then almost, the second we take a bow, then we're like laughing and thinking it's funny.
Yeah. We're laughing now.
Hey,
I'm
we're
laughing thinking
now.
about it.
You mentioned about flyering there. Kind of one of the things I ask people is kind of, is there any science behind how many flyers they get? Do you think I'll just buy as many as possible, or I'm going to, we're going to fly up 300 people a day, or whatever else? I mean, is there any kind of science to it, or just whatever the budget allows?
We have no clue.
We have no idea.
We've
if
never
anybody
done it.
knows the science, let
Do
us
you
know.
How many
Most
flyers
people
should we
think
get, Dan?
About 5,000 was kind of a typical number.
Really?
5,000.
But it all depends, kind of whether you're just kind of spray and pray or whether you
Yeah.
we're going to engage in a deep conversation before you pass anything over. I think it kind of depends on
Yeah.
your kind of tactics.
And I guess
Wow.
there's the exchange rate to think about too. Like 5,000 UK flyers might be.
Of course. How's the dollar doing?
Yeah. I mean, the thing as well is that obviously, an extra 1,000 isn't that many more. So people just go, oh, whatever, we'll go for the next lot and we'll do something with them.
Well, this
maybe
has been
wallpaper the house
informative.
with them or whatever.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
have to order the flyers probably today. Hopefully it's not too late.
But
Yeah, don't take
we'll
my
start-
5,000s gospel, but me.
Well, guess what? We are. Because you're the first
We
person to
are.
say a number to us.
But I mean, in terms of the flyer in itself, do you see yourselves doing it in character?
Probably not, because so the characters that sort of are a runner through the show, like we open with them and we check in with them midway, and then the closer are two women who are up and coming planet producers, and we're called Kathy and Grace, and we basically are pitching our idea for a new planet called Earth to the board of the universe. But those characters are sort of purposefully, I guess, close to self. Like they're pretty normal women, because the joke, and I love to explain the joke. The joke is that it's sort of like almost like modern corporate style creative pitching, but the thing that we're pitching is this planet, and we're talking about like the span of billions and billions of years ago. But I think that like those characters aren't, if you just met us in the street as those characters, you'd go, oh, those are normal women.
Yeah, the
It
characters
wouldn't be
pop
evident.
in the context of the show more than they would pop as characters on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
But those characters are kind of desperate women.
Oh,
so we
true.
may kind of be in that character as we're flyering.
They are
It may
desperate
just-
women.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll come up with some sort of costume or gag to wear to sort of protect ourselves from having to be desperate women on the street every day for 2 hours.
Yeah. And do you have like a 20-second elevator pitch, or come to my show, or something? Because one guest I had on before, their show was called Cowboys and Lesbians, and so they would go up to people and say, do you like cowboys and lesbians? And I think almost then immediately you kind of people will know whether that's for them or not. But whether you've got something similar, that kind of quick pitch to kind of hit someone to kind of get them intrigued at least.
Yeah. No, we can workshop something now.
Well, I would say if you don't like cowboys or lesbians, you probably won't like our show.
Because
Because
you're
it's
probably a grump.
right, exactly. Those are kind of like, that's a pretty good litmus test for just like, do you like fun? Do you like cowboys and lesbians? So kind of to co-opt that other person's pitch.
Yeah.
If you like cowboys and lesbians, come to Cool New Planet as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we could come up with a hook, but the thing about sketch shows is that it's not like the framing of the show has this planet thread and also is kind of like existential and like a creative way to look at the universe. But it's not like about something in a way that a solo show or something is. It like what the important thing about a sketch show is that it's funny. And so like the true honest hook of our show is like, do you want to see a very funny sketch show? But that doesn't exactly, you can't promise it except by being like, I promise this is
promise
good.
it.
Yeah, maybe that's what we just are saying. We
guarantee.
promise it's funny.
We pinky promise even.
Because I do
But
think
yeah,
a lot of the sketch people have seen, maybe they've seen like Saturday Night Live or Key and Peele, or I know that there's some more famous British sketch shows. But in general, like a lot of people's experience with sketch will have been like maybe seeing a college group or something. And And what we're doing is very different than that, in that it's funny and like our show's like tight, like the inside of a grandfather clock.
Yeah, a lot of cogs and chains and little figurines popping out. That's a cuckoo clock. But we have performed for a long enough time that we've developed really kind of like our own. We've had a lot of time to sort of test our own boundaries and like how weird we want to get and like when to pull it back and when to get really weird with things. And so we, have developed a pretty kind of like tightly designed little show.
Cuckoo
and
clock.
A little cuckoo clock. And I guess if I had to like summarize it or pitch it beyond it's really fun and really funny, and we absolutely promise that you will have fun, is kind of what Claire touched on, which is like it's almost it's observational sketch comedy that pokes fun and satirizes a lot of different aspects of human life on Earth. And then our runner is almost like a secular treatment of intelligent design. Like if everything about Earth was yes, clack it. It doesn't make sense in an audio medium. Claire was just egging me on. A secular look at intelligent design where all of the like, to put it in the most serious, boring kind of terms possible, if every feature of life on Earth was intentionally designed that way, meaning
by two desperate women trying to put a planet together.
Yeah. So we're like things that we're like, we have to keep food poisoning. Like that's like a keystone feature. Like we want there to be food poisoning on our planet. We want there to be divorce and the Grinch. Like every single little thing, just kind of like we're poking fun at and satirizing the creative process, and that there's a point where you just kind of throw everything at the wall and you're attached to every single little thing, and you're not able to see outside like which things are actually good features versus bad features. You're just kind of like, I really wanted to keep food poisoning. Like that's like my baby. It's just not the same. The planet won't be the same without
it. Just makes life feel like, because life can feel like the same, but food poisoning really makes it feel like some days pop.
Exactly. And that's our pitch for the planet.
Yeah. And in terms of approach, I've seen the poster you talk about, obviously your experience with SNL, The Onion, Comedy Central. I mean, that's obviously a great, as well as kind of a pitch. You know, people will see that and think, well, you know, there must be something going on here. You know, it's not just two randoms. You know, you've got that experience behind you. I mean, do you think that in terms of selling the show in that quick 30 seconds where someone makes a decision, those kind of things really help?
They probably do. I think we feel gross about saying it out loud, though. But I would love to put a quote from you, if I could, on the poster. Quote, "It's not just two randoms." That could be our first real pull quote.
It's not just two randoms.
That will hopefully get people, add some legitimacy, which is good, because there's just so much at the Fringe, and you don't always know what's going to be good until you're in a theater with three other people and your heart sinks and you're just like, oh, oops, I went to the wrong show.
We don't want anybody's heart to sink. And ultimately, we are two randoms, but we've been at this for a long time. And over the years of us working together, we have both separately racked up some pretty nice bits of comedy experience. And all of that, we go off and have kind of done our own comedy careers, and then we reconvene and we bring everything that we've learned back to each other. So it does make us feel a little bit yucky to be like flashing the logos, so to speak, but it is, I think, it's a good sort of reassurance too that we are skilled and we know what we're doing. And look at all the logos.
I mean, in terms of those kind of things, so as opposed to doing, sketch in the theatre versus sketch on TV, or more kind of one-liner things for the Onion? Do you find that, those different things complement each other when you're kind of putting things together?
Definitely. I think one of the biggest things that has been able to sustain us, or that has helped sustain us as a group, is the discipline and the work ethic that you have to develop when you are working in a comedy career at these places that are serious institutions. We bring that same. We're not like, okay, now it's time for us to rehearse. Like, let's mess around and have fun. I mean, we do mess around and have fun, but we also have developed a pretty strong work ethic and sense of discipline through this kind of patchwork of experience that we have. And I think that's why we're able to make the shows so precise, in both like comedic point of view and execution, is that we do take it as seriously as these jobs that we've had.
Yeah, I think that making our own shows is the most sort of like big brain expanded, the world's our oyster writing, because you can, in live theater, you can really take the audience with you on something pretty odd, and you have their buy-in, especially if you put it later in the show. And like on SNL, everything is there's no expectation, like no one is imagining anything, so you're stuck in like one location. But if you're doing live sketch, you can have a scene cross like 3 different locations because the audience just agrees with you. If you're like, we're in a grocery store, and now we're at the park, and you don't have to, and now we're in space, and you're not worrying about all these like props, costumes, everything. So that's really nice. And I feel like I wrote for video games, as did Maureen, and that sort of, and Maureen wrote for The Onion, and those are sort of like, you just have to sit down and write like 30 jokes in a row. And I feel like this sort of big-brained, you can do anything muscle is only really exercised when we write our shows, for me, because we don't have all of these limitations because of the imagination of the audience. But then the sort of like brute force discipline of writing a bunch of alts is within those big brain frameworks comes, or is like very helped by the fact that we've had these jobs where you kind of just have to like push and push and push and come up with a bunch of jokes.
So you're on at 7:40 at the Gilded Balloon. Kind of how much research and talking to people did you have to kind of think about the venue and the time, or did it just kind of happen out of nowhere?
We hoped it happened how we hoped and prayed, basically. We applied to a few different venues, and we are so excited about our time slot. Mostly I've heard it's a good time slot, 7:40, because people won't be too drunk yet, which is good. Although I hope some people are a little drunk, maybe, because
Don't worry.
Starting to, yeah. Beginning of the night before people get sad and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's really we hoped that we would get a venue like Gilded Balloon and a time slot similar, like around that time. So we're pleased as punch. And I wish I could say we had any more of a hand in it than that, but it really was just applying
what we were offered.
Yeah.
And in terms then of kind of promoting, do you think you'll do much exit flyering or stuff in the evening, or kind of between, like, let's say 3 and 5? That will be your kind of promo time.
Well, we're learning from you, Dan. So
yeah, is that good? Is that good?
That should be what we'll be doing then.
3 to 5? Okay.
Yeah, I think we'll just have to figure out what is working for us. Last time I went for improv, we had pretty good experience flyering right before and sort of just catching people and saying, oh, there's a show in 20 minutes. But we'll see how we feel, because it does take a lot of effort to do a 2-person show for an hour. And so
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll want to be resting right before or something. So I think we'll just learn as we go.
Yeah, 20 minutes before the show is usually when we both have to eat a banana and drink a Diet Coke. So we may not be able to flyer right before. But yeah, I mean, like Claire said, it takes a ton of stamina to do a 2-person show where we're dancing and screaming and running around basically the whole time. So yeah, we will definitely,
And we are screaming the whole time.
yeah, it is an all scrummed show. But yeah, well, it'll be probably some trial and error to figure out what that balance is between firing and making sure that we still have enough left in the tank to do the show.
Yeah. And we have both been running in preparation.
Yeah. And we are running the whole show and screaming.
Yeah, sorry, we're running and screaming the whole show.
Are you planning on doing appearances on other people's shows to kind of promote things as well, or you kind of wait and see until you get there and take it as it comes?
Wait and see, baby.
Wait and see.
Yeah, we would. I mean, that's kind of how we'd love to like put up a sketch or two in a variety show. Yeah, I don't feel like we know about anything yet, but hopefully we'll get there and meet people and then get booked.
The other thing we talk about in promoting the show, is flyers, posters, and that kind of stuff. Do you see online as important? I kind of looking at your profiles, you are both relatively speaking offline, and I commend you for that. Other people I speak to are kind of several pieces of content a day, and it's almost a full-time job. Do you see it as a necessary evil, at least for August?
I think that to some extent, but apart from sort of making like letting people know that we're there, neither of us have interest in being super posters or living on Instagram. And so basically we're more going to go for like word of mouth. The work speaks for itself and flyering, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't even begin to discuss how we feel about social media because we just can't. We can't. I'm sorry, Dan, we can't. But we do recognize that it is like a little bit of a necessary evil, but our great preference would be to have a really, really fun show that you see in person that can't really be done justice by
a clip,
promo reels. Yeah.
We did start an Instagram for Spooky Dookie. It's called Spooky Dookie Duo, and we didn't have one for 10 years, and then we capitulated and created one 2 months ago. So we're online.
Yeah. So look no further for proof of how seriously we're taking our
3 posts.
Our 3 posts, 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
On Instagram. So yeah, follow at Spooky Dookie Duo on Instagram if you want to see 3 posts and more.
I think during the Fringe we'll post more fun behind the scenes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other main one is reviews, getting people in, and it's like I said, 4 or 5 star in the Guardian or Scotsman early on can make a huge difference to kind of how your run goes, and will kind of hopefully free you from having to you won't need those 5,000 flyers if you can kind of get that kind of thing in. I mean, have you got much planned for that kind of thing?
We have a wonderful PR person named Lily, and she's gonna do the best she can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank you, Lily.
Thank you, Lily. Yeah, we're not. We don't even know how to. We're not worrying about it. We're just gonna do our show and try to drum up an audience early on, and then go from there. I think is kind of our thinking.
We are doing preview shows, at which I've heard reviewers come to, and is a good way to get reviews. That was another piece of advice that we had gotten, was to do previews, but we probably would have done them anyway. But yeah, we don't know. Our fate is kind of in Lily's hands, and we're not kind of doing it for the bells and whistles of the fame and publicity. We are doing the show because we love doing it, and it's going to be so fun to do. 25 times in a beautiful city. But we do
Yeah.
hope that reviewers do come to the show so they can have fun too.
And especially because if we, like, exactly what you were saying, it seems like if you get good reviews, it helps you get an audience, and that's probably the most important thing to us, because it hurts the soul to do a lot of shows for no people, though we accept that will happen a couple times at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking through your website and background and everything, Claire, I saw your beginner banjo. I mean, how much of a beginner on that? It's kind of an
Oh
interesting
my
look at
gosh. Is that from my acting resume?
it was just on your resume on your website.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad you bring that up because I have to take that off. I took banjo
Busted.
in college with a man with very long white hair who taught banjo in the basement of a cafe. So I could play a couple songs, but then when I moved to New York for SNL, I gave my banjo away. So now truly the door has closed on that. I could play You Are My Sunshine if I needed to.
Okay.
But thank you for saying that. I need to check on the resume that I have uploaded to my website.
Actually, Claire, Dan and I have been talking, and we really think you need to get back into banjo.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to bring a banjo along,
Yeah. Maureen has learned piano in recent years and is
I have.
we had a scene where she sings a song, and so she was playing piano, composed the song, but because we're going to be at Fringe and renting a piano and then bringing it on and off stage just all felt too persnickety, Maureen has now learned the ukulele and will be doing the song on ukulele. So that's sort of a musical savant moment for her.
Yeah, it's definitely a big musical savant moment for me. But yeah, it has. I did learn the ukulele for the express purpose of the reason it being that ukuleles are just a lot easier to transport to another country than a piano, and it's been very fun to learn the ukulele. My fingers are kind of calloused on the tips, which makes me feel like a rock star. But yeah, it's kind of, neither of us are super musical people, but we always end up with songs in our shows.
We write so many songs.
Yeah. So it made sense for one of us to eventually learn an instrument.
Yes.
Again, 10 years later.
But there is a song in the show that I made. There's a website called, I think it's called looper.com, and they have musical loops. And so I just downloaded a loop and then built a track using video editing software. And it's humorously lo-fi. It really is just one loop looping over and over and over, and then we're singing the same melody. But it works for the scene. But yeah, we write all these songs and then find a way to patch together a track so that we can do it in the show.
Yeah.
one of the other things talking to people about is kind of poster design, and it's kind of a nice creative task away from the show itself. I mean, did you enjoy kind of coming up with the idea and the design and everything?
It kind of stressed us out.
Yeah, it was pretty stressful. we had a good time we got a great LA-based photographer, Jill Patrasek, and she took our photos, and we didn't really know, it was a learning experience as we were doing it, because as we were doing the photo shoot, we kind of zeroed in a little bit more on what we wanted. And then the process of putting the poster together was kind of spearheaded by Claire, and we worked with a great Chicago-based graphic designer, went back and forth with her a bunch of times, and we're super happy with the end result. But it was a lot of back and forth about the tweaking the poster.
Yeah. But for the viewers at home, the listeners at home, our poster is us kind of leaning over a glowing planet, basically, that's small, so we look like we're really big. And that's kind of the idea that we had. We knew we wanted it to be us and a small planet. I also feel like for photo shoots, I'm always immediately shy and I'm like, when people are taking pictures of me, which is not how I feel on stage, but I do in front of a camera.
It's a good reminder that modeling is a difficult career because I agree. Like, I don't know how to like put my I forget how to put my face when there's somebody taking my photo in a professional setting. But yeah, we it was kind of a tall order for us to figure out how literally we could convey our sort of very conceptual show about two planet designers designing a planet, and sort of trying to translate that idea into kind of like a simple visual. And I think us kind of cradling our little planet is a pretty good representation of it.
Yeah. And maybe a fun fact is that our show, we've done it a couple times, and it was called TBD New Planet, as in to be determined new planet, because that represents like, it's like placeholder name for this planet. But then when we were planning for Fringe, we thought it might sound too much like it was a work in progress show if it said TBD. And it's also just kind of a confusing name. So we ended up changing it to Cool New Planet with 2 exclamation points, so that it would be more representational to like, this is this show is done. And it's not like, you see so many work in progress, loose stuff at the Fringe. Yeah. And ours is like, not that.
It's not that. It's finished and it's tight.
We love that, but ours is not that. And we never do that.
We would never do a loose show.
But we love that.
But we love it. And also Lily, love you, Lily, our PR person, pointed out that TBD is less of a thing in the UK, and it's more common to say TBC, to be confirmed. So we were like, well, we can't immediately have an Americanism in our title, and
we don't want them to know we're American until the lights come up.
Yeah, we're working on our British accents to scream in as we run across the stage for an hour.
And to be clear, we don't scream, just in case anyone doesn't have a sense of humor. We really don't scream in the show.
Yeah. To be clear, we run a little bit, but not that much. Certainly not.
But we dance and sing.
We dance and sing.
I think that was another thing you had, Claire, on your CV, was that European accents.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And in the show, we do French. We do one in French, and we do an Italian. And I think that might be it.
And several really specific regional American accents that kind of probably British ears won't pick up on, so we won't get into it. But yeah, we do a lot of accents in the show.
I'm not going to be doing British accents in the UK though, in Scotland.
Certainly not,
because it won't hold up. But it holds up to an audience in Chicago, I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. We're curious. I mean, we're excited and curious and afraid to find out things that play to American audiences and don't quite translate, but that's going to be part of the fun. And listen, we're 2 American girls, so that is just what we are. But we're excited to see what kind of little adjustments we have to make to have certain things read better to a UK audience. Like, Dan, I noticed that you said butts or bums on seats.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun. We say butts in seats. Bums on seats. Yeah. We're going to try and get some bums on seats. So there's one.
Thanks to Claire and Maureen for coming on to the podcast. You can find out more details in the show notes about where to find them both online and at the Fringe. If you enjoyed this, check out our other episodes of variety comedians, musicians, authors and others in creative industries talking about trying to make creativity pay. Thanks for listening.